Number 8. Nanette Waldrop. On the morning of September the 14th of 2021, Alabama woman Nanette Waldrop climbed on board a school bus in the city of Center Point. She did so with the purpose of confronting a student whom she suspected of bullying her child. According to the Jefferson County Sheriff's Department, the 37-year-old woman proceeded to physically assault the child shortly after boarding the bus at about 7 a.m. In the wake of the incident, a video recording of Waldrop's attack emerged on social media. She was consequently taken into police custody on charges of third-degree assault, trespassing on a school bus, and disorderly conduct. The Jefferson County Superintendent publicly called the video disturbing and insisted that the type of brutish behavior exhibited by Waldrop would not be tolerated. Court records indicated that later on the day of her arrest, the woman was released from custody after posting her $10,500 bail. Number 7. Anne Marie Shelvin and Tracy Gallo. A girl at Washington Elementary School in Louisiana became the target of incessant abuse and bullying at the hands of her own teachers in early 2017. According to a police report on the matter, teacher Anne Marie Shelvin routinely singled out the child in question, whose name was kept out of public records. Shelvin reportedly displayed a pattern of derogatory behavior that eventually led to her removal from Washington Elementary's faculty. Prior to her termination, the teacher had allegedly encouraged 3 of the bullied girls' schoolmates to physically attack her, threatening that she'd fail them and treat them just as poorly if they refused. The resulting incident caused several students to be sent to the principal's office to be reprimanded. Shelvin was also accused of telling the girl to end her own life, which was ultimately reported to school officials, leading to her dismissal. The abusive instructor was subsequently replaced by her former aide, Tracy Gallo, who then continued her predecessor's bullying crusade against the pre-teenage student. Surveillance cameras at the school captured Gallo pushing the girl on the bleachers on 2 separate occasions. After that, the St. Landry Parish Sheriff's Office intervened on the child's behalf, and the 2 teachers accused of bullying her were arrested on charges of malfeasance in office, intimidation, and interference in school operations. Number 6. Daphne Mellin. In order to confront a purported cyberbully, Long Island resident Daphne Mellin drove her 12-year-old daughter Jade to William Floyd Elementary School in Shirley on a Sunday afternoon in September of 2011. As was later detailed by the Suffolk County Police, 32-year-old Mellin had persuaded Jade to challenge the girl, who'd allegedly been harassing her on Facebook, to a fight at the local school. On the 11th of the month, the 2 young students began fighting each other, with Mellin encouraging her daughter from the sidelines. At some point during the brawl, Mellin herself got involved and helped Jade attack the other child for several minutes. Then after the scuffle had ended, the mother allegedly got into an argument with another group of children who'd been watching the incident from afar. One of the spectators had reportedly questioned why Mellin, as a presumably responsible adult, hadn't broken up the fight. The woman retaliated by spitting in the child's face, grabbing them by the hair, and attempting to knee them in the head multiple times. The entire ordeal was recorded by a bystander, and although the video was initially posted online, the police later revealed that it had been taken off the internet and seized as evidence in their investigation. Mellin surrendered to the authorities and was charged with 3 counts of endangering the welfare of a child and 1 count of attempted assault. Number 5. Veronica Ruiz. At about 3 p.m. on June the 19th of 2019, New Jersey mother Veronica Ruiz was walking her children home from school when she realized that they were being followed by a group of 3 male teenagers. Ruiz's eldest son then told her that they were the same students who'd been bullying him at school in recent days. The teens proceeded to attack the family, striking the bullied boy in the face and knocking his mother to the pavement, causing her to temporarily lose consciousness. Ruiz spent the next 2 days in the hospital after suffering a number of injuries, including a concussion and a fractured eye socket. It later emerged that on the day prior to the vicious attack, Ruiz's son had reported the assailants to school officials for allegedly bullying him. The teen, found to have spearheaded the attack on the Ruiz family, was consequently arrested and charged with assault before being released to the custody of his parents. His victims have publicly accused him of targeting them due to their Mexican heritage, and therefore labeled the attack as a hate crime. Number 4. Jailyn Jones. The body of high school senior Jailyn Jones was found in a shallow creek in Germantown, Maryland, on January the 24th of 2022. The young man, who'd gone missing 3 days earlier, had reportedly sustained multiple stab wounds to the head and torso. A medical examination ultimately determined that his death had been caused by blunt force trauma. After speaking with Jones's friends, investigators learned that he'd gone to see someone named Tay, eventually identified as fellow Northwest High School student Taquan Henderson, on the day of his disappearance. The police obtained a search warrant for Henderson's DNA, which was then linked to DNA present on a pair of boots and jeans that had been found near the body. In May of 2022, Henderson was arrested and formally charged with first-degree murder in connection to Jones's death. As of the latest updates on the case, the police were still actively investigating the incident, and a motive for the killing hadn't been officially established. However, the victim's mother, Alexis McDaniel, alleged that her son's death was directly related to bullying he'd been experiencing at school. The woman reportedly came upon a social media account that mocked her son's homicide in a post that described him as a snitch. Although McDaniel claimed that Jones had been killed because he reported his harassment to school officials, the Montgomery County School District was unable to publicly comment on the bullying allegations due to rules pertaining to student privacy. The preliminary court hearing pertaining to Henderson's murder charge was scheduled for May the 27th of 2022. Number 3. Michael Hyler. On October the 4th of 2021, Englishman Michael Hyler was arrested by Nottinghamshire police in connection to his repeated assault and intimidation of an unidentified woman. It was reported that in April of that year, 45-year-old Hyler had punched a victim in the face during one altercation and then strangled her in another violent incident a few months later. In addition to his physical attacks, the man was also accused of downloading tracking apps to the woman's cell phone, destroying her passport, and planting hidden cameras in her home to spy on her. Hyler was taken into custody after the police had been notified of his relentless harassment, and he then faced criminal charges of controlling and coercive behavior, assault by beating, and causing actual bodily harm. Only 20 minutes after his subsequent release, the man was reportedly found to have violated the conditions of his bail agreement by contacting and harassing the woman on social media. During a hearing in Nottingham Crown Court held on May the 18th of 2022, Detective Constable Ella Redfern of the Nottinghamshire Police labelled Hyler a violent and controlling bully and called his physical and emotional abuse against the victim deliberate and frightening. He ultimately pleaded guilty to his charges and was consequently jailed for 3 years. Today's topic was requested by Instagram follower Queen Posh. If you have any other topics you'd like to learn about, subscribe and let us know in the comments section below, or follow us on Instagram and reach out to us there. Number 2. Brianna Broku. A student at the University of Hartford in Connecticut was arrested in October of 2017 for launching a calculated campaign of bullying towards her roommate over the course of several weeks. In the days following 18-year-old Brianna Broku's arrest, news of her abhorrent behavior circulated internationally, largely due to the seemingly racial nature of her harassment of Jazzy Rowe, her African-American roommate. Subsequent reports detailed how Broku had boasted about her misdeeds on social media, laying out the details surrounding them as though they were a point of pride for her. In an Instagram post, she'd openly admitted to a multitude of offenses, including putting moldy clam dip in rose lotion, wiping bodily fluids on her plates and utensils, and rubbing used tampons on her belongings. Broku's systematic bullying ultimately prompted Rowe to move out of their shared living space, which the former celebrated on social media, saying, "I can finally say goodbye to Jamaican Barbie." In a lengthy Facebook Live post, Rowe detailed the extent of the harm her roommate had caused, explaining how she'd become increasingly ill. Because of Broku's repugnant actions, she'd begun to suffer severe throat pain that caused her to lose her voice. Upon her arrest, Broku was charged with breach of peace and criminal mischief, but the NAACP proposed that she also face hate crime charges, alleging that she'd targeted Rowe specifically because of her race. Broku ultimately avoided being charged with the latter, and she was ordered to enter an accelerated rehabilitation program in 2018 after being sentenced to probation. Number 1. Thomas Brown. A father from Wichita Falls, Texas, was taken into police custody on January the 27th of 2022 for allegedly pulling a knife on a group of high school students. The suspect, identified as Thomas Brown, had reportedly been told by his daughter that she was frequently bullied by some of her female classmates. According to an arrest affidavit, Brown subsequently got in contact with the school principal to notify them of the situation. Rather than allow the issue to be resolved through the proper channels, however, the man decided to enact his own brand of justice. On the day of the incident, Brown received a phone call from his daughter, who claimed that her alleged bullies were chasing her. She reportedly asked her father to meet them at an intersection near the high school's parking lot. Upon his arrival, Brown approached a group of girls and threatened to slit their throats if they touched his daughter. One of the alleged bullies then expressed her doubts towards the legitimacy of the man's threat, at which point he reportedly brandished a pocket knife and held the blade approximately 6 inches from the girl's neck. Local police received multiple calls about the altercation, and when officers arrived at the scene to investigate, Brown spoke freely with them about what had happened, even going so far as to physically reenact the incident for them. He was booked into the Wichita County Jail on a charge of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. Brown was released on a $10,000 bond while awaiting the commencement of the case's legal proceedings. Thanks for watching. Would you rather work for your childhood bully or wet the bed for the rest of your life? Let us know in the comment section below.